Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Maths Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. We're going to be talking about differentiating simple brackets, and this is a very simple step, but you have to make sure you've reviewed power rule, which is the first rule, the first mechanism in this series, because that is the bedrock for what we're going to do here. And also, if you've not liked, shared, or subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. You don't forget to click the notification bell so when I post new videos, you'll be the first person to know. All right, so let's get into it. How do we differentiate simple brackets? So that means, for example, if you are told now to differentiate a bracket, so when I say bracket, it means that there is something like maybe y is equal to ax plus b raised to the power n. Okay, so there is something in the bracket. Okay, so in this case where a and b are constants, all right, then n is the power. Okay, so to differentiate this, so where a and b are constants and n is the power, and we're told to differentiate something like this. Let's assume we were asked, okay, I want you to differentiate y is equal to, let's say, 4x plus 3 all raised to power 5. Okay, so then expanding the bracket and start trying to differentiate, you can use the differentiating the simple bracket mechanism to solve it, or maybe you have something like let's say 3x minus 2 all raised to power half. Okay? And you are told to solve this. How do you solve this? Okay, so there are 4 rules. There are 4 rules here. So the first thing you do, you have to bring the existing power down. And use it to multiply. Okay? Then after you've done that, the next thing, you then have to then subtract 1 from the old power and use the new power. Number 3, when you're done with that, you then differentiate the expression inside the bracket. Don't worry, I'm going to explain all this. I just want to write down the rules for you. All right, so you differentiate the expression inside the bracket. So that means in this case, the ax plus b, okay? So in this case, I'm talking about the ax plus b. So then it could be anything, but the what is inside the bracket using any of the previously discussed mechanism. Okay. Then when you've done that, then you multiply the result with step 2. Then number 4, you then what? You simplify. All right. So let's solve this now. So let's assume we're having y is equal to ax plus bn. Let's apply this rule so it will make sense to you. So y is equal to ax plus b all raised to power n. Step 1. Step 1, we're told to bring the existing power down and use it to multiply, right? So let's go. So the power is n. We're bringing it down. So it's going to become n multiplying ax plus what? B. Are you seeing it? You're bringing it down. All right. Now, step 2, we're now told that we have to subtract 1 from the old power and use the new power. So we have it down. So it will become n ax plus b. But the power that we had here was n. We have to subtract 1 from it. So basically, it's like apply the power rule. You bring down the n, then you subtract 1 from it. Is that okay? Then step 3. So in step 3, there are 2 parts. So there's the first part here is to differentiate what is inside the bracket, okay? So what is inside the bracket is ax plus b. So ax plus b, when you differentiate it, so remember the constant, all constant will become 0. This will become a. So the answer you get when you differentiate will give you a. Then what they said, you should then multiply the result with step 2. The answer we got from step 2 was this. So we're going to multiply a by this. So it's going to become a multiplied by n ax plus b n minus 1. So therefore, the dy over dx for this is going to become an ax plus b n minus 1. Okay? So just to repeat myself, then you bring down the n down, or the power you have, you bring it down, then you subtract 1 to give you this. Then after you've done that, what you have in the bracket, you're going to differentiate it normally, like using the power rule in this case. Now we're using the power rule with constant. So if you go to this, I think it's the second mechanism in this series, you go back and look at how to differentiate. When you have a constant, it's going to become 0. When you differentiate ax, so because this is raised to the power 1, so it's going to be 1 times a will give you a. 1 minus 1 will give you 0, so it's going to give you a. Is that making sense? The answer you get from here, you multiply by the answer here, and that'll be your derivative. All right? Then step 4, depending on the answer you get, you then what? You then simplify. All right, let's pick an example, okay, so to make it, to have real numbers, so you can relate with it better. So let's assume we have that example, y is equal to 4x plus 3 raised to the power 5. Okay, so what are we going to do? Step 1, we need to bring the 5 down, right? So it's going to give you 4x plus 3. Step 2, we then have to subtract 1 from the power, right? So it's going to become step 2. We now have 4x plus 3. Then we have to subtract 1, 5 minus 1. Okay, and that will give us 5 into bracket 4x plus 3, all raised to the power what? 4. Now, step 3, we're told that we have to differentiate the expression in the bracket. So what do we have in the bracket in this case? We have 4x plus 3. So 4x plus 3, when you differentiate 4x, is going to give you 4. When you differentiate 3, is going to give you what? 0. Are you seeing it? Then, step 4, then step 3, you then have to multiply the result with the answer from step 2, because we were told, then multiply the result with step 2. The answer we got here was 4. And we're going to multiply it by the result we have from step 2. So that will give you 4 multiplied by what? 4x plus 3, all raised to the power 4. Okay? Then step 4, then our dy over dx will now be equal to 4 times 5 will give you 20, 4x plus 3, all raised to the power what? 4. And that'll be the answer for that. Okay? So the first thing you do, you have to bring down the power. You subtract 1. After subtracting that, then what you have in the bracket, you differentiate it. When you differentiate it, then the answer you get, you multiply by the whole answer from step 2, and that will give you the dy over dx. All right, let's pick one more example for this. So let's pick another example. Let's assume we have y is equal to 4x minus 1 raised to the power half. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. Step 1, You bring down the half, so it's going to become 1 over 2 into bracket 4x minus 1. Step 2, you then have to subtract 1 from the power, so it's going to be 1 over 2, 4x minus 1, half minus 1. And this is going to give you 1 over 2, 4x minus 1, minus what? Half. Okay? Then, step 3, then you differentiate what is in the bracket. So when you differentiate 4x minus 1, you're going to get what? 4. Then you multiply the answer you get to the original, to the answer from step 2. So that's going to give us 4 multiplied by 1 over 2, 4x minus 1, all raised to the power minus half. Then step 4, when you now multiply, so 4 times half will give you what? 2. Then you now have, so forgot to write the dy over dx. Will now give you what? 4 times half will give you 2, 4x minus 1, all raised to the power what? Minus half. And that will be the answer for that, okay? So you bring down the power, you subtract 1, what you have in the bracket, you differentiate it and multiply it to the result you get from what? Step 2. All right, so I want you to try this, okay? I want you to try these questions. So let's assume you have y is equal to 2x plus 6 raised to the power 3. So 2x plus 6 raised to the power 3, okay? Let's assume you have y is equal to 2 plus 0.2 x raised to the power 2. Y is equal to 3 minus 6x raised to the power minus 3 over 2. And we have another one, y is equal to 5x minus 3, all raised to the power minus 4 over 5. Okay? So in all this case, I want you to find dy over what? Dx, or the first derivative. So like I said, you can put the answer in the comment section, or you can discuss with a friend and just compare your answers and see if you got the same thing. And if you're not sure, you can ask me anytime you see me, or you can send me an email and I'll get back to you. All right, and that will be that for that. So the next video, I'm going to talk about how to differentiate general brackets, okay? Now, these are simple brackets. It's pretty straightforward. But now in this case, I want to talk about if you have a function in the bracket. Now, how do you go about it? All right. So I'll see you in the next video. So in order for you to be aware when I post the next video, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so that when I post the next video, you'll be the first person to know. All right. So I'll see you soon where we'll talk about how to differentiate general brackets.